Hey, what's going on, y'all? Brother Doug here with another discussion. Now, the other day, I took my mom to see Aladdin, the 2019 remake, and I gotta be honest with you, I kind of like it more than the original. Now, hold up before y'all start flaming on me. No disrespect to the late, great Robin Williams, aka the Bay Area legend, and his legacy and what he did with the 1992 version. Will Smith, he definitely took it and made it his own. You know, he wasn't trying to implement everything that Robin Williams did. He like adding the hip hop flavor, because he said that's something that Disney has never really implemented in the movies, like hip hop. So he wanted to bring that flavor to the film. Now, if you're a 90s kid like me, or were around in the 90s, you know that Aladdin had the TV show, he had the sequels, you know, Return of Jafar, King of Thieves, which is my favorite of the Disney direct-to-video sequels. I mean, if I were Disney, I would make this a franchise like ASAP. Because they definitely took some liberties of their own and kind of changed the ending from the original. Like, you know, this is a spoiler-filled video, as you know. Aladdin and Jasmine got married at the end, but they got married in King of Thieves. Jasmine is now the Sultan, or a Sultana. And Genie, that's a good question. I don't know if he lost his powers or not, because, you know, Aladdin still set him free like he did in the original and in this one. But, you know, it wasn't clear if he lost his powers or not. And if Jasmine is Sultana, what does that make Aladdin? So here's what I think they should do for the sequel. They should definitely take inspiration from the animated series, because if you grew up in the 90s, as I mentioned, you know that Aladdin had a vast array of villains during the show. He had Abismal, he had Mosenrath. I mean, just some of the stories that lay down, there's so much you can do with Aladdin's mythology. You know, I remember running home from school, watching Disney Afternoon on UPN. Like, oh wow, just fascinated by that. Like, there's so much to explore with this world. Like Jasmine, and they kept mentioning throughout the entire film that there were other countries. So, you know, that would be great to do some world building. And if they bring back Jafar in some kind of way, because definitely, you know, it sets up Return of Jafar, they can take inspiration from the comics and the games. I mention that because, as again, growing up as in the 90s and early 2000s, you know, I had the game, you know, Aladdin, Nera's Revenge. Basically, Jafar's sister is getting her revenge on Aladdin for, you know, annihilating her brother. And also in the comics, you guys know I'm a big comic head. I just, you know, happened to pick this up in like a back issue box. So basically what happens in this book is Jafar's apprentice returns to Agrabah, and he puts a curse on Aladdin and all his friends. I mean, that in itself is a great premise. Cursing Agrabah, you know, like a plague or something. Maybe the apprentice could come back and go to the Cave of Wonders and get Jafar, release him, and see. Look, Disney, I just cut me a check. I just wrote you guys a sequel. Oh yeah, let me show you. Before I go, let me show y'all some irony. This book was made in '94, right? Read this: The Marvelous World of Disney. Who would have thought that 25 years later that Disney would own Marvel? And I hope Disney makes like an omnibus or something, because hold on. You know, these comics are actually pretty compelling, y'all. Like, wow, I missed out in the 90s. You know, because remember growing up in the 90s, I wasn't really big on comics like that. You know, I read a few Aladdin comics, but when they were on the back of those Disney Adventure magazines, and of course, you know, the funny papers. I just hope, since, you know, Marvel and Disney are one the same, I just hope that maybe somewhere down the line they can make like a collected omnibus edition of all the Aladdin comics, or even all the Disney Afternoon comics, because, as I said, those are very intriguing. Like, oh wow, this is dope. Because Marvel already has omnibuses for Star Wars and Muppet Babies. Why not Disney Afternoon? And another thing I was saying while I was sitting there watching the movie, like, Disney can actually build off this and build their own cinematic universe, you know? Like, they have the Mulan movie coming out next year, and from my understanding, they're rebooting Pirates of the Caribbean. Brilliant, because the original writers who wrote the original Aladdin in '92 also wrote the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. You see where I'm going with this? Even prior to Kingdom Hearts, Aladdin was no stranger to crossing over and meeting other Disney heroes. Like, I remember when he met Hercules. Y'all remember that? Come on, where my 90s kids at, man? With the Mulan crossover, maybe they can have like an evil Chinese army try to invade Agrabah. Or with pirates, maybe, you know, some evil pirates can come and try to invade Agrabah. But either way, you know, Aladdin will meet up with either Jack Sparrow or whoever the new pirate elite character is going to be, or, you know, Mulan. And since Jasmine is Sultana, you know, they can make it happen. Like, come on, man. Wouldn't that be so epic if Disney branched out and launched their own cinematic universe? Like, you know, have maybe Aladdin. Well, I'm not talking about maybe Aladdin with Jungle Book, because I don't know what the fuck he would do that. But I could see that. Aladdin with Jungle Book. Again, I'm saying there's so much you can do with Aladdin. He can have so many adventures, and you know I'm an advocate for adventure and traveling. But before I go, here's one thing I always want to know, even with the original and this new one. I always want to know this as a kid. why didn't Aladdin just use carpet to fly up to get the lamp? But then again, everything happens for a reason. Had he done that early, maybe Jafar would have killed him, and we wouldn't have got the movie that we know and love. So overall, I give this movie 5 out of 5. I think this is one of Disney's best remakes to date. I mean, I am excited for Lion King though, but I know nothing, I don't care what y'all say, will top the original. The original still sits number 1 in my top favorite films of all time. So the question I gotta ask for you guys, a few questions. Did you grow up in the 90s, and are you familiar with Aladdin's mythology, like the cartoons, the comics, the sequels? If so, let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like the video, share the video, subscribe. Let's talk about this movie. And follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and like always, deuces.